Let's look to see how to make a histogram using Excel. When we look at this data, so we have the governors of the state of Arizona, the time that they've been in office, their birth date, their age at the time that they were inaugurated, or approximate age, where they were born, and what party they are. So if we look at the data, the columns in terms of qualitative data would be birthplace and party, and maybe even we could use birth date if we're thinking about months. So the only data that we have here that can be quantitative is the age at inauguration. So I want to take this column of data, so I'm just going to highlight this entire column of data, and then I'm going to go to Insert, and then over recommended charts, we want to make it a histogram. And so the bar chart is this one, which bar charts again are for qualitative data. We want a histogram, which is going to be quantitative data. So I'm going to click on the histogram choice, and I just want the histogram chart. So it's going to automatically populate a histogram chart in here. You'll notice here it has the closed or the bracket indicating that we're including the age of 40 and we're including the age of 50. So this here is a histogram. It is automatically created that, but it has a bin size of 10 units, 10 years old. So we can just click on the chart and make a title for our chart. And so I just double clicked, and this would be the age of governors, or AZ governors, at inauguration. Okay, so that gives it a title. There's some, we can format that in many different ways over there. But what we want to do is look at these bin sizes. If you recall that the bin sizes can vary based on how much size, how many ages we want. So we want to make this, do we want to kind of spread out the data, or do we want the data all clumped together? So if I click on one of these bin sizes, and now over here on the side, it will say, I want to automatically do this, or I want to change the bin width. So I want to change the bin width, and maybe I want it to be 5 years of age. So I'm going to change that to 5, and I just hit enter, and it will automatically adjust our histogram. And now our histogram goes from 40 to 45. And again, and we're including the age of 45 and not including the age of 45 in the next bin. If we want to, so notice as I'm hovering over it, it'll tell you how many are in there. This is fairly easy to read. But if you click on one of the bars, that gives us this kind of elements and chart styles. The chart styles, we can change how it looks. Or in our elements, we can add the data labels. And now you see that it's really easy. We can see the 2, the 3, the 5, and the 6. So again, when we look at this bin size of 2, I'm sorry, the bin size of 5 years old, from 40 to 45 years. If we look at our data, we can see, we can count these. So here's 46 and another 46. So those aren't in that bin, but we have a 40-year-old, and that was Mr. Babbitt. And so he is included in this data bar. And then if we look to see anybody else, let's see if there's somebody that's 45. So here is Mr. Pyle, who is age 45, and that gives us our second person in this bin because we're counting them in the first bar and not the second bar. And that's why those brackets are very important. And we talked about those when we make our frequency table. And then here we have a hole. Remember, all the bars touch each other so that if there's something that is skipped, it's a count of 0. And so there's a hole here. And again, we can just click on this bin size, and then we can change the bin width to maybe 7 years old, and that'll again change the look of the graph. So I typed in 7, hit enter, and then now I have a different looking histogram. I can also change, instead of doing the size of the bin, maybe I want to make sure I have 3 bins. And so I can change that to 3, and then now Excel will adjust to have only 3 bins.